Hello, everybody. I just recorded like an hour-long vlog. I did not test as properly as I should have, and the audio from the videos that I was playing in YouTube were very, very low. And even though I tried to go into my video editor and bring up the audio level, it still was not enough. So, but yeah, I guess with everything going on, I guess the main topic of my videos is the Trump speech, the Save America speech that good old DJT gave the other night in I think it was Youngstown, Ohio. So I mean, you gotta just sort of like, there was a lot of people there and a lot of people behind him on all different sides. You know, if you go through, there's like blacks for Trump and just different people, you know, like a Hispanic woman and stuff. I mean, but what he was saying, and part of the reason I made this video is I sort of want to challenge anybody who's not on the side of Trump to dispute or go against any point that he's trying to make in this video. And you know, the last time I did this recording that just got lost, I broke into the video a lot, but this time I think I'm going to play it through the entire time, the entire 8-minute video, and then I'll jump back in at the end. But I just sort of want to try to get people to start talking a little bit, to start logically talking a little bit, because most of the videos I see of like when there's like conservative people out in the street and liberals, you know, it's typically, sadly, the liberal people who are not responding and giving their opinions based on logic. They're giving their opinions based on whatever they're told in the media, whereas the conservative people are typically more logical. So let me go ahead and start this, and then we'll go from there. It's going to be about 8 minutes, so I apologize for the long video, but I think it's really powerful.
We are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, and where the stock market finished the worst first half of the year since 1872. Likewise, we are a nation that has the highest energy costs in its history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant as we were just 2 short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and many others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. Yet we have more liquid gold right under our feet than any other country. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal, yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal will lead to our destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all electric cars, even though they can't go far, cost too much, and whose batteries are produced in China with materials only available in China, when unlimited amounts of gasoline is available inexpensively in the United States, but it's not available in China. We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the United States, just as the price of oil reached an all-time high. We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world. We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your commander-in-chief, and for 4 long years, it didn't happen. And China, with Taiwan, is next. We are a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never, ever before. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, where Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation when they knew it wasn't, and a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a president who is cognitively impaired and in no condition to lead our country, which may end up in World War III. We're a nation that no longer has a free press and has no fair press any longer. Fake news is all you get, and they are truly the enemy of the people. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant like never before, where the economy has been collapsing, where more people died of COVID in 2021 than in 2020. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon and China to use the trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to rival our own. And just 2 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, and all of the rest in check. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows it. They respected the United States, and they respected America. And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer respected or listened to around the world. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke, and we are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, and faith. We are a nation whose economy is floundering, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every single list. We are a nation whose once revered airports are dirty and crowded and a mess, where you sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the plane won't leave, and they have no idea when it will. A nation where ticket prices are through the roof. They don't have the pilots to fly the planes. They don't want or seek qualified air traffic controllers, and they don't know what they are doing. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, willpower, and strength. We are a nation that has lost its way. But we are not going to let this continue. 2 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again.
And even he didn't expect them to cheer so much at that point. But so you'll see here in a minute, he sort of tells them to like quiet down, because he probably has so much time with that song or whatever that he needs to finish the speech within. So.
It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will stand up to the radical left lunatics and rhino.
Like everybody you see in that scene, they're just all normal, regular people. They're just people, everyday people. And the Biden administration is making people like that out to be extremists, domestic terrorists, up there at the level of the the January 6th people. You know, it's really, really sad that the division that the current administration is trying to create between the people. And I said in a previous video, like the government, when people come together, when people are able to talk and people come together and they're not butting heads, when people come together, that's when the government loses their power, because people are united. So united people are a free people.
And we will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever, ever, ever back down.
And a lot of people on the left try to say that's like a very conservative or right-leaning sentiment, that we'll never back down, we'll never give up, we'll never do all these things. But, you know, any people from any country should not back down from their government. They should not surrender the God-given, the inalienable rights that were given to them just for being born. I mean, again, we're all one people, you know, and like I said earlier, I challenge anybody to try to debunk individual points that he's making in this. And if you can't, then just listen. Just listen to what he's saying, process it, and, you know, logically, and then look back at his record over the 4 years he was president. You know, we didn't get into any new wars. Unemployment was at an all-time low. You know, there was so much that he did. The First Step Act and freeing people, like from the act that Biden and Clinton put into place back during the 90s, you know, that locked up a lot of black people, especially in the cities, especially in like Los Angeles and different Californian cities. He locked up so many people over trivial and minor drug offenses. You got like the third strike, where even if it was like a minor drug thing, say you got arrested for marijuana 3 times in a row, it was like a life, you got like a life sentence. And Donald Trump did the First Step Act. Now, sure, it had support of Democrats and stuff, but they don't cover that. And I would be hard pressed to go back and be able to find those clips, because they weren't covered by the media. And then I watched them directly on the White House YouTube page, but those are probably all those videos have probably been purged ever since. But so many people support him because logically, and I'll get into some other videos here in a little bit, but let me finish this one off.
As long as we are confident and united, the tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a small chance of victory, because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and to God alone. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey we're on together has only just begun, and it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious American nation. So with the
Just listen to that. Let me back that up a little bit. Just listen to those last few lines.
About greatness for our country again. We are one movement.
One movement.
One people.
One people.
One family, and
one family.
One glorious American nation.
And one glorious American nation. Where Tell me where you could go wrong with that. Tell me any point in that where it's wrong. Don't go back to like past history. Don't go back to like slavery times. Don't go back to all that because that's not today. He's talking about today. He's talking about now. You know, he has people of all colors behind them here. You know, there's like, you know, veterans and normal Americans, and there's like a blacks for Trump. There's like a little Hispanic woman there. There's like, I don't know what all these people are, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they are. You know, there's people on all sides that support what he's saying. So I'm going to back that up a little bit again, one more time, and then I'm going to let it finish out.
And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious American nation. So with the help of everyone here today and citizens all across our land, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Ohio. God bless you. Thank you, Ohio. Thank you.
You tell me where he's wrong. Tell me where anywhere in that speech he is wrong. I challenge you. And if you find something, I will listen, and other people will listen. But just try to debunk that. It would be really interesting to hear opposing viewpoints, because to me personally, nothing that he said in that speech is inflammatory. It's uniting. You know, unlike Biden, who, like I said in the speech in Philadelphia, when he had the red lights behind him with the Marines standing in the background, which was very divisive. He literally, like Biden literally called half the country like MAGA people. 70 million people. He literally called it like enemy of the states. Tried to compare the MAGA movement with the January 6th people. I mean, it was the Biden speech was so inflammatory. I mean, I could play that here too. I mean, yes, like I said, I did a hour-long video, but my audio sucked. But let's see, Biden speech in Philly, Independence Hall. Yeah, there's like, I mean, it was almost scary. Look, the red background. Yeah, there's like big red background. Yeah, I don't know, they're playing their little song or whatever, trying to make it sound patriotic. And I feel sorry for those Marines, to be honest with you. I really feel sorry for those guys that they have to be there. They have to do their duty and stuff. I'm sure they went home and talked to their wife and said, like, God, this sucked. It really sucked tonight. That's probably what they told their wife. Come on, Joe. You can do it.
My fellow Americans, please, if you have a seat, take it. I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America. Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its Declaration of Independence to the world more than 2 centuries ago with an idea unique among nations.
Clear the throat. But just look at this picture. You know, there's like him Yeah, I support the American flag, but then you got like in red lights behind you, like two Marine silhouettes in red. That's like very Soviet, very tyrannical looking. Like V for Vendetta. That's getting into like V for Vendetta stuff. Great movie, by the way. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. V for Vendetta
That in
with Natalie Portman and other good actors.
America, we're all
America.
created equal. This is where the United States Constitution was written and debated. This is where we set in motion the most.
But even when I skip ahead like many minutes, it's still the same picture.
There are far more Americans, from every background and belief who reject.
I mean, if you're looking at the whole thumbnail here, I mean, the whole thing is like him, the Marines in the background. I mean, it's like a scary speech, and with throughout that speech, I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's like 25 minutes, but he really like in his own way, in his own Democrat way, cracks down on like the MAGA people, people who want to make America great again, and that's not. So many people from so many sides, especially like the people who are unfortunately still supporters of the capital BLM movement. Not the lowercase, but the capital BLM movement. You know, they'll try to say like, when was America great? You know, it was great for a long time, especially after like World War One. After, you know, during the 1920s, 1930s, you know, and that's when like my grandparents like were in their prime, I guess, their 20s and 30-year old. I guess my grandmother and grandfather were born, my immediate grandmother and grandfather were born in like 1925. So they were in their teens, early teens during the Great Depression. And then they, you know, throughout the post Great Depression era, they were getting into industry. You know, pre World War II. You know, my grandmother was probably one of the most fascinating people in my life. You know, she was just generally a fascinating person because she did things that a lot of women couldn't do back in those days. She when I went to her funeral back in like 2014, 2015, and there were pictures of her who as a flight attendant. They were like modeling pictures. She was like a model in like early like Delta or American Airlines pictures back during those days. And then later on in life, she got into different religions. She sort of got into, you know, like Mormonism and Jehovah Witnesses, and she sort of pulled my parents into it a little bit, but my parents were fortunately a bit more restrictive. They didn't really get into any one of those. You know, I was lucky to grow up just as a general Methodist and Christian, and now I'm sort of like more Episcopal. I've told many people I'm sort of like a socially liberal person, so I don't care if you're like, you know, gay or straight, or, you know, if you believe in this or that, or your pronouns or whatever. I don't care about any of that. That's cool. If you want to be that, then awesome. But when it comes to like government policy and like, you know, Biden here and like fiscal policy and everything, I'm a bit more conservative in that respect. So, I mean, I just sort of want to give them equal time.
We are a nation
We are a
in
nation
decline.
in decline. So you got like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Which guy would you support? I mean, that looks a little bit like Nazi-ish totalitarianism. You know, again, the Marines standing in the background, you know, which, like I said earlier, probably went home that night and said, like, I can't believe I was a part of this. You know, whoever was coordinating the lights, they really screwed things up. And then you got like Donald here at a rally with like veterans in their berets and some. I know you probably can't see my mouse on the screen. Let me shrink down my video here a little bit, but yeah, up and just to the top right of Trump, you know, you got like a hippie-ish looking guy. You got like a black dude or whatever. Trump, and if you, I'll advance a little bit more in this video, but if you go advance, you know, black Trump. I mean, it's just so frustrating trying to convince people that he's not as bad. That was actually sort of a popular sort of video with a guy that I follow named James Klug. Let's see, youtube.com. James Klug. Or no, it's probably yeah, let me try Klug. Trump not as bad. That's probably not the right guy. It's probably not Klug, but it was I can't remember the other dude, but you know, they pretty much went out to different people on the street, you know, like in California. It was California, like Laguna Beach and Laguna Niguel and Huntington Beach and different beaches. But they went out and they found people from both sides and gave them quotes or talked about them to different people. And then when they quoted Trump anonymously and said that it might have been Biden, or if they quoted Biden and said it might have been Trump or whatever, you know, people were confused by it. They didn't know. They only knew what the mainstream media is pushing. And that's the biggest mainstream media is the biggest like epidemic. Actually, Joe Biden just declared that the pandemic's over. The COVID pandemic is over. But the mainstream media pandemic is not over. They're still indoctrinating. They're still, you know. Let me see if I can pull up something on the. Let's see, Biden pandemic is over. They're probably going to block every one of my videos. Health experts. Biden premature declare pandemic is over. That's from Newsday, so that's a more right-sided. Biden on 60 Minutes. The pandemic is over. That was 1 day ago. So let's play that. Let's see what they have to say. The pandemic's over, man. Don't need to wear a mask anymore.
President Biden declaring the coronavirus pandemic over.
Yep.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it.
The pandemic is over. There's still COVID, and we have to do a lot of work on it. I mean, and then right here on the this little lower level here, this lower level thing, President discusses economy midterms, Ukraine 2024. That's called a Chiron, by the way. Like Chiron, Chiron. So he's basically saying the pandemic's over. It's not. He's saying, he's only saying that because the midterms are coming up. And then he probably discusses the Ukraine in 2024. Well, let's keep playing.
But the pandemic is over.
The pandemic over, but COVID is still a problem, the president says.
Yep.
That is from the president's 60 Minutes interview that just aired a short time ago. And he touched not only on COVID, but the economy, the upcoming midterms, and the war in Ukraine.
In Ohio, former President Trump addressed supporters during a rally.
I didn't mean to advance that, but that's so funny that they. I give CNN a bit of credit. I know they've been going through some political, or at the top level of CNN, they've been going through some changes. So I give this anchor woman a little bit of credit that she's calling him out a little bit. So let me skip ahead a little bit.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over.
The pandemic over, but COVID is still a problem, the president says. That is from the president's 60 Minutes interview that just aired a short time ago. And he touched not only on COVID, but the economy, the upcoming midterms, and the war in Ukraine.
Yes, he touched on all that stuff.
In Ohio, former President Trump addressed supporters during a
The CNN website, I keep clicking on. I try to pause it, then it skips to the next one, so I'm not even going to mess with that anymore. But yeah, that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad that it gets to that. But like I said, I give CNN a bit of credit. Maybe they're trying to correct things because they've gone through so much upheaval in their executive levels. I just almost want to play that, because every time I click pause, it like skips to the next video or whatever. I'm gonna try to skip ahead to where I was, but not like.
President Biden
Still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over.
Okay, so it's a short video at 34 seconds.
The pandemic over, but COVID is still a problem, the president says. That is from the president's 60 Minutes interview that just aired a short time ago. And he touched not only on COVID, but the economy, the upcoming midterms, and the war in Ukraine.
Okay, so that's why it skipped ahead. I didn't realize that it was such a short video. It was 34 seconds, but so I don't know who this anchor is. I don't know who this person is, but she, at least she sort of questioned it, I guess. You know, a little bit, maybe. No. Yes, so going back to the Trump speech, he got a little bit into like Tesla, the batteries, battery powered cars. And, Tesla, and yes, the battery powered cars they're good. And they're more, well, I wouldn't say energy efficient, because they still need a charging station. And many of those charging stations are still powered by conventional fuel. They're not all wind power. They're not all solar power. Some of them are still powered by, well, maybe on the eastern side of the U.S., they're still powered by coal power, some nuclear power that's left, but and then just just different power sources from across the United States, depending on where you are on the Tesla charging station things. You know, like where I am in Kentucky, I know we get a lot of power from outside the area, so it might be nuclear, it might be coal. I know, like our local power plant here in Kentucky is coal powered. They only fire it up every now and then, and when they do, I can see the plume, and it's clean coal because it's not a black cloud coming out of it; it's a white cloud. So I know it's clean coal. According to the politicians from many years ago, it's clean coal. But there's just so much hypocrisy on so many different sides. It's just impossible to really break everything down, every single point. But like with the Tesla, I remember talking about in the previous broadcast that there's a guy who I think he's in like Sweden or Norway. He has a Tesla. He bought it many years ago. It's like a 2012 or 2013 Tesla Type S. And his battery died. He probably drove a lot or whatever. He got his worth out of it. If you really go back and probably look at the miles, he probably got his worth out of it. But the battery now, they locked him out of his car, and they said you can't drive your Tesla unless you replace the battery. And the battery is $26,000. $26,000. That's, I mean, even if you're semi-wealthy, if you're wealthy, that's not a big deal. You could just give them your Black American Express card and you're done. The battery's replaced. But even people who are pretty well off, that make like 100,000 plus or 150,000 plus, that's still a big chunk of money just to drive your car. And that's what was required. And as far as I know, he's still locked out of his car. And he filed like a lawsuit. I think he got some other people behind him or whatever. So, pretty crazy stuff. So, I'm going to sort of leave this. Like I said, I did this earlier, this podcast, and then the audio levels were low. But I think this one is fine, so I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to go ahead and upload this one. But I think I tried to make a lot of the same points. There's many other points to make. I mean, so many other ones. And sorry to whisper. I don't mean to be like Joe Biden, and whisper and stuff. That's sort of creepy. But that's just the way it's going to be. So let's stop this one. Hope everybody has a good night, a good day tomorrow, a good week ahead, because even though this is my second round, it's still before the next day. So it's still Monday, September 9th at 11:31. 11:30. I'll go ahead and say 11:32 p.m. because that'll be when I stop this. So, peace out. Good to see y'all. Bye-bye.